So Paul Simon here. I'd like to do a video about the 915 engine that Rotax has brought out. The 915 IS is a great engine. This thing produces 141 horsepower, which is a lot of horsepower. In the M16 and the M24s in the past, we had the 914s, and they produced 100 horsepower continuous, 115 at full boost. But the 915, which you can have in both the M16 and the M24, produces 141 horsepower, and that is a lot of horsepower. One thing that I've noticed with these aircraft, particularly the M24, is that if you take off at full power, you're making, essentially 141 horsepower on takeoff, that because of the increased power and torque of the engine, that you get a bit of a torque roll to the right. And if you're not expecting it, it can surprise you. I mean, I don't know that anybody's had an accident based on that yet, but you gotta wonder. And you'll see here in just a minute. I've got Dean as my victim. He's going to be my co-pilot. We're going to go out and fly the M24. We've got an M24 Plus that has a 915 in it, and we're going to go out and do differing takeoffs at differing amounts of power and differing air speeds to show you that how prominent the torque roll is and how to minimize it. And so we'll get to that here in just a bit. So we're going to take a look at the Magni M24. Magni M24 has a 915 engine, produces 141 horsepower. The 914 engine produces 100 horsepower continuous. When you're into full boost, you're at 115. This one will go all the way up. The 915 engine will boost all the way to 141 horsepower on takeoff, and that can cause some problems, and we'll describe them as problems, but that will cause a bit of a torque roll on takeoff. And so we're going to go out in just a minute and do some takeoffs and illustrate that at different power settings how the torque roll can be different and at differing air speeds. But let's take a look at the machine here. So this is the 915. It's quite a nice machine. It's got the 915 IS. It's the M24 Orion. Here's our tail number. And look at it, it's got a nice 4-blade prop. So that you'll notice, looking at the prop, that when the engine is running, the prop turns to the left, all right, which induces at high torque settings, induces a roll to the right. And we're going to go out and illustrate that here in just a bit. But this is a heck of a nice machine. Gentleman bought this one that lives in Nebraska, and came here for some transition training. He bought it used, which was a very, very good idea to come in and get some transition training. So we're going to do quite a bit more training with him, and I'm going to fly it out to Nebraska. He's got a grass strip, and I'm going to do a bunch of flying on his grass strip so he gets used to flying his aircraft on his strip safely. And so I've got another trip in my future coming up here. So, all right.
Man, 7 Tango Bravo's on the downwind for 20.
Tango Bravo, clear for option 20.
Option 20, 7 Tango Bravo. Alright, I usually wait. I get to the end of the runway, I'll come back to 4,000. Make my base turn, and then when I'm sure I got the runway made, come on back to like 2,800, something like that. Like I say, these things are nice if you just hold it about, foot off the ground, just keep reflaring, touchdown on the mains. It makes a real nice, graceful looking landing.
Unlike my last one.
Unlike most of mine, they're graceful. Wind's pretty much right down the runway. There you go.
Oh, that was way better.
Want to bring that right? Yeah, you got to bring in the left stick right.
Oh, man, it just feels weird that it's kind of offset.
It is. It takes a lot of getting used to on the the stick, and then if you got over on this side, it takes getting used to again using this stick. All right, let's go full power. Try not to counter the roll initially. Just see how much roll you get. See that roll?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and counter that now. All right. I had the aircraft.
You got the controls.
Now, if you do like a soft field takeoff, we got the stick all the way back, like this, and full power. Now watch how much it rolls. It really wants to roll at low
Coming
speed.
off of a slower speed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that?
Oh, yeah.
It really wants to roll over. Or not roll over, but roll to the right. You know. We'll stay down here and get our speed up. All right, you have the aircraft.
All right.
Not absolutely sure why, but I can tell you that the probable reason is the fact that, you're going slower, you got less airflow across the tail. There's, less stabilization with less airflow across the tail, so that torque makes even more of a difference and it rolls even more at slow speed. But you pull it off at 35 or whatever, it really wants to, as soon as that nose comes up and the wheels are off the ground, it really wants to roll. Okay, so this time we're going to come around and we're going to do a takeoff. This thing makes 141 horsepower when you're full throttle. You don't need 141 horsepower to get into the air. So we're going to use about 100 horsepower. So we'll come in, 4,500 or something like that, and then do a takeoff with it at that power setting, and you're going to see that there's nearly no roll at all. It takes off basically just like the ones with the 914s in it. The M16 with the 915 in it, it has a bit of a torque roll to the right. It doesn't have nearly as much torque roll, and I think the difference is, my best guess is that it's got way more airflow. The tail's a lot more exposed. You got more airflow going across of it. Provides a lot more stabilization against that roll. So, Tango Bravo, midfield on the downwind, 20.
Coffee break.
What's that?
I say he must be on a coffee break.
Yeah. 7 Tango Bravo, about ready to turn base to final for runway 20.
Yeah, I don't think you're hearing me too well, though. You're clear for the option.
Clear for the option. Yeah, I may have been stepping on you or something now. Of course, I can't hear what the hell that might be it, too.
I never heard him.
A lot of times if you're on the ground waiting to take off on 2, they can't hear you. You can hear them, but they can't hear you. Yep. Usually I'll make my radio call right before I get to the end if I'm taxiing out, just so they can hear me.
I've done that too. Or, you can also call them on ground.
Yeah, how's that right? 21.6?
21.6 works a lot better than tower frequency out there.
Huh. It's weird. It's got to be the position of their antenna on top of the building. It's just something's blanking out that antenna where they can't hear you if you're sitting right there.
So if you're in here solo and you take off full power, you still get the same amount of torque roll, even nobody on the right side.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be any difference if you got one person or two people in it as far as the torque roll is concerned. You'd think, well, I'll be over on the left side, that'll counter some of the torque roll, but really it doesn't seem to. It seems to roll just as much if you're in here by yourself, only one person on the left, Need a bit of right pedal. Right pedal. There you go.
Right.
It's a different sight picture from over there. It looks, and if you sat over here, you'd be doing just the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have too much of the other pedal in. Okay, so now, let's go into about I'm going to give you about that much power right there. And so now when you take off, teeny bit of a torque roll, but not much. Now when you're in the air and you come in with the rest of your power, you can really limit the torque roll, get the thing into the air, and then come on in full power. Yeah. You can climb like a banshee, man. So, you know, this sounds stupid, but on landing, it doesn't matter that you got 141 horsepower, all right? So you're really not going to notice any differences on these aircraft than when you're coming in for a landing, you know. Because you're out of the power, there's no torque issue, you just come in, float, land the thing. But on takeoff, you know, if you have your head up your butt and you go full power and you're not expecting it, or it's the first time you flew it, you may end up out in the beams or something if you don't counter that, you know. Tango Bravo is on the downwind, 20.
Tango Bravo, clear for the option, 20.
Option 207, Tango Bravo. There was an accident out at El Monte, California yesterday, and it looks like the guy ran off the runway during takeoff.
It was a gyro?
It was an auto gyro, auto gyro Cavalon. I don't think it has a 915 in it, but still yet. Made me think about doing this video today because it's such a significant issue when you've got the 915 and you're into a full bore, man. It really significant amount of right torque, and you're not ready to counter it. It can surprise the heck out of you. Our friendly state police officer has a traffic stop. There's a car hit the bridge. Did you see it? Was it there when you came in this morning? Or?
I came up from Sykes.
Oh, you came up Sykes. I came down from the north, and there's one hit the bridge. Man, they those wire things out in the middle, they take out a bunch of cars. Teeny bit of right pedal. Conceptualize, you got the nose too far to the right, and it'll be about perfect. See there?
Yeah. Because I felt like I was a little bit to the left.
Now, check this out.
All right.
I had the aircraft.
You got the aircraft.
Yep. I'm going to do a takeoff, and I'm only going to use partial power, and I'm going to let it get up faster on my takeoff, you know. I'm actually going to lift at about 65. Now watch what happens. Nothing. No torque roll at all, as even as can be. Now, I'm going to I'll put us back down and let you have it. We still got enough runway left. I'm sure of it. All right, you got the aircraft.
I got the controls.
Yep, I got your power.
All right.
Now, purposefully lift off at about 65. Yeah, come on forward with your stick a little more. There you go. All right, now lift off. See there? Yeah, a little bit. Not too bad. So, again, if you're at super slow speed and pull the nose up, it really wants to roll right. If you let your speed come on up, you know, and I'm not advocating that you take off at 100 miles an hour, but anyway, if you let it lift.
If you did, then you wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't
notice any.
Yeah. So, but, you know, if you lift off at 60, it's going to be much less prominent than if you lift off at 50, you know. Yeah, so, yeah. And like I say, the M16, it has a bit of a torque roll as well if you fall into the power, but it's not nearly as prominent as it is on this thing. And I think, again, it just has to do with the fact that you got more airflow across the tail. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. You know, you got a lot wider fuselage blocking any air coming back.
Yep. Yeah, it's like flying a fat girl through the air here compared to the M16. Somebody will probably send me a bad comment.
Probably,
yeah. Some
edit that part out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For political correctness, it's like pushing a fat boy through the air. How's that? Okay, there we go. Tango Bravo's on the downwind 20.
Hey, clear for the apps 20.
Clear for the apps 20, Tango Bravo.
Cape Tower, helicopter 119, Alpha Echo, about 7 south, southwest.
Confirm it.
Francis,
Yeah.
1800. Like to transition through the area.
And Alpha Echo, transition approved, Cape altimeter 2986. Give me a call about 2 out.
We'll give you a call 2 out, and we should be well west of 220.
Roger.
Morning, Tim.
How's it going, Paul?
Yeah, thought I'd say hello there. We're doing touch and goes here on 20. We'll be out of your way here.
Yeah, you'll be no factor.
All right, man. Have a good flight.
You too.
So now I'm going to have you do one full throttle again and try to lift off at about 65, just to show you that they're going to have a torque roll, but at 65 it's going to be much less pronounced than 45 or 50. Or conceptualize having your nose a teeny bit to the right, and you'll be just about perfect. There you go, about like that. That looks good.
Dang it.
I missed it by that. All right, let's go ahead full power on this one, but try to lift at about 65. Forward on your stick just a little bit. There's 65. Now gradually get back a little on it. So see, you can still got a torque roll, but it ain't nearly as prominent, man. Yep. And I can see somebody getting one of these aircraft used from somebody not getting transition training, go out there for their first takeoff and pour the coals to it and end up over here in the grass somewhere, hopefully not tearing the aircraft up. But you know, it's definitely there, and you know, if you're not expecting it, it'll catch you by surprise. So. All right, care if I do one landing? We'll see if I can remember how to land.
Cape Tower, 9 Alpha Echo, 2 miles.
All right, there's Alpha Echo.
Yep. You got the control.
Yeah, I got the aircraft.
You can continue. And yeah, that gyro's off you right there, about 1.5 miles.
We've got him, 9 Alpha Echo.
7 Tango Bravo, 20, clear for the option, helicopter off your left northbound.
Okay, I got the helicopter in sight. We're clear for the option 207 Tango Bravo. Let's see if I can, I'll go for the 0 on 20. I'll try to spot land on these in a while. So the easiest way to do this is while you're approaching about 55. So see, I'm trimming it up, so it's real easy to, right there at about 55-ish. Come out of the power a little bit and shallow up the approach. Then we're going to go for the 0 on 20. Right there, right at 55. Looks pretty good. All right, he's out of my power. Oh, man. This did about 12 feet. And 7 Tango Bravo, like back taxi to Foxtrot.
7 Tango Bravo, taxi to your rear.
7 Tango Bravo. All right, so we'll get our nose trimmed all the way forward and have you put the wire back on. All right, you have the aircraft. Notice how much better these things turn than the 16?
Oh, yeah.
I guess because it's shorter coupled there.
Yeah, it steers a lot better.
I like the aircraft, man. I think this thing's great. It's got that forecast your future, tell your grandmother's social security number, and all kinds of crap that you don't really need. Anyway.
Yeah, that dyno's really sweet.
Yeah. It's cool. Notice that it shows you, when you're coming out, I don't know if you notice when you're coming in for a landing, just like the Cadet, it shows the runway out on the screen,
Yeah. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, free exchange approved. Have a good day.
All right, now go ahead and bring it to a stop. Set our parking brake. Our park brake set. Go ahead and put on your rotor brake. So now you have a strong right crosswind. That's the best way to stop the gyro. Okay, to stop the rotor. Okay. Because over here is the retreating side. All right. So as the blades start getting slower, you're going to notice they're going to be dipping this way, not dipping towards the pusher prop in the back and taking out your pusher prop. So right crosswind or right off the nose is the way to do it. Left crosswind, you want to avoid like the plague, because if it dip, when you get the equivalent of retreating blade saw, it's going to dip right down into your pusher prop. It want to dip now on this side. Okay, you can go ahead and let your brake off there, and it'll come by. It'll come around.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah, we only missed it by 90 degrees. And squeeze your rotator a little bit. With it. There you go. You got it now. Reach down, grab your rotor brake. All right. Yeah, close enough. All right, go ahead and taxi up towards the door there. So when you shut the engine down, you'll come off with line A and line B at the same time. Okay. All right. I'll go set your parking brake for you. Line A and line B together. There you go. Now off with your fuel pumps. Very good. Start power. Yeah, you can go ahead and off with that. Off.
Okay, so that's the Magni M24 Plus that has the 915 engine in it, and we went out and demonstrated torque rolls. I have not flown any of the other brand gyros that have been fitted with a 915. I think there's a few of them around. I don't know which ones, Cavalon or ELA, whatever. But I can't help but think that they're all going to have the same torque roll. If you try to depart with the aircraft at full throttle, you got to really kind of watch and be ready to counter that torque roll, no matter which model it is, whether it's an M24 or any other brand that would have a 915 engine on it as well. So, okay, so I hope that was informative and helpful, and if you don't mind, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next video.